Quite a whirlwind for New York's current lieutenant governor, a congressman less than a month ago, now Albany's second in command in the executive chamber, and a candidate in this month's primary to try and win the job in the November general election.
Busy time for Antonio Delgado, also the third lieutenant governor in a year, replacing Brian Benjamin, who resigned after being indicted on federal bribery and fraud charges. There he is, the lieutenant governor. Good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Oh, it's good to be with the both of you. Thanks for having me.
And just to clear it up right off the bat, we asked, and he said he'd prefer to be called Antonio. So we'll call you Antonio, sir. Let me start there, Antonio. With so much scandal, no surprise to you in Albany the past year, including the man you're replaced, why should New Yorkers be confident you're the right man for the job?
Well, I will tell you that I bring with me my own track record of experience. As noted, I've been in Congress for the last 3.5 years in upstate Hudson Valley, Catskills area, a very big district, bigger than Connecticut and Rhode Island combined, a very rural congressional seat with over 5,000 small family-owned farms, 11 counties. And I made a point to make sure that I listen, that I'm on the ground connecting with folks in a meaningful way. I developed bipartisan, locally based advisory committees to focus on ag issues, healthcare issues, small business issues, making sure that the folks that I represent feel a genuine connection to me. And that is the work that I have to do now moving forward. It is incumbent upon me as a public servant, not a politician, a public servant, to figure out how to connect in a real, genuine way with the people that I seek to help and make sure they can live better lives.
Certainly will be challenging to connect because time is not on your side. You got a late start for June's primary in just a couple of weeks to try and keep this job. So how do you get the message out? How do you connect to all of New York State?
Well, certainly the opportunity to speak on this platform is very helpful, but just as important is to make sure that I'm on the ground, connecting with folks. You know, when I was in Congress, I did 33 town halls in all 11 counties, 3 in each county within my first year. So I know how to get around. I know how to make sure that I'm connecting with folks. I was raised with an incredible work ethic and discipline, and it is incumbent upon me to make sure that I apply those skills and that value set every single day to make sure that the people all across this state understand who I am and what I'm about.
Yeah, well, Antonio, let me ask you a little bit more about that. What are the areas you're focusing on now as lieutenant governor? Are they the same? Are they different as congressman, or a little bit of both?
I think it's important to understand, I look at this at 2 levels. First is just making sure people can feel good about government. Accessibility, transparency, accountability, integrity, decency, character, honesty. These are the things that I try to bring to the table as a leader in the political space. And then there's effectiveness. People want to see government work for them. When I was in Congress, 18 of my bills were signed into law, 10 under President Trump, 8 under President Biden. And one of those bills secured over $10 billion to the state of New York, both to state government, but also to local governments and all of the municipalities inside of our counties directly. That was my funding formula included in the American Rescue Plan. So as I make this transition into a statewide role, my focus is going to make sure that we are continuing to leverage these resources in a direct fashion through infrastructure, through wastewater systems, through small business development, economic development, broadband access, all the things that I know that can create access to opportunity and level the playing field for folks all across this state.
Antonio, here's a chance for our viewers to get to know you a little better on a personal level. You are a Colgate grad, and they may not know this, but you earned a Rhodes Scholarship to Oxford, graduated Harvard Law School. Why did politics call you?
It's a great question. I certainly did not plot out my career in any way, shape, or form. I grew up in a working class family in upstate New York. My parents worked for General Electric back when GE had a real presence in upstate New York. Worked us up from working class to middle class. Education was talked about as the gateway to opportunity, the great equalizer. And as you noted, I took advantage of my education. But I had 2 very different careers after graduating from law school at Harvard. I spent 5 years out in LA as a hip hop artist, and then I spent another 6 years as a litigator at a white shoe law firm. So very different environments. But what drove me to serve was thinking about my own story of upward mobility and how I was able to leverage the opportunities that my parents were afforded to better my own life, and realizing that too many of our young people today don't have those same chances. Too many of the working families of today don't feel like they're able to better their lot. And that's not how it should be. It just shouldn't be that way. So I want to make sure that I can bring to bear my diverse set of experiences. I feel like I can connect with just about anybody because of how diverse my own experiences have been. And that's proven to be the case. I was one of the most bipartisan members in Congress. I ranked #1 amongst Democrats. So I know how to find common ground and get things done.
Just very quickly, you were a pretty good basketball player too in your day. I've been looking it up. You played some at Colgate, I think a Donald Foyle era. Did you
Yes.
play in the Did you play in the Dome with the Donald? What'd you think of that?
Listen, I loved it. You know, I'm an upstate New York basketball Hall of Famer. You know, just to be clear.
Yeah.
I played my freshman year. I think the team back then had John Wallace. We had Donald Foyle. We actually went to the NCAA tournament my freshman year. We played UConn when they had Ray Allen. I was on the bench, but I was there. We were a 16 seed. They were a #1 seed. And as you could imagine, we got beat.
What a great conversation. We're so glad you joined us today. We got to know you a little better, and we appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Antonio.
Thank you for having me.